Welcome in, everybody, to the Tri-Oval Office. I'm Cayden. That's Grant, and it's the best week of the year if you're a Georgia boy like us. How are you doing, Grant?
I am doing fantastic. I am very excited for Sunday. Just hopefully the rain kind of just gets out of the way early.
Exactly. I like the forecast right now. I don't like how cold and windy it's going to be, but I'll take live racing anytime I can get it here.
No, I agree. I don't know if we've discussed this, but we'll be taking the wife to her first NASCAR race. She's going to be exposed. I said no earplugs, no nothing. You just got to breathe it in and just enjoy it. So we'll be on pit road pre-race, just kind of seeing the scenes and seeing the vibes and that kind of stuff. You'll be there. It'll be buzzing. I mean, it's the best race of the year, except for maybe the July race. So, and also in Atlanta.
Say I'm taking my cousin to his first NASCAR race, so I am not as harsh as you. I'm allowing him earplugs, but
Mm-mm.
that's it. We're He's got to embrace the atmosphere of how many people does Atlanta hold? Like 70, 80,000,
I was
something
about to
like that.
say under 100, but pretty close, I think.
Like it's a good size track, and it's the best racing on the circuit. It's like early 2000s Daytona, except even more unhinged. It's going to be a lot of fun. Speaking of Daytona, for a minute there, my childhood self was happy again. It's rare moment that it happens, but it was very happy because Dale Jr. at the very end of the Dale Jr. download this week mentioned that his wife Amy just rolled over in bed after the Daytona 500 and said, "Why don't you just run this thing next year?" And everyone's like, "Oh my goodness, Dale's going to come back for the Daytona 500 next year, and he's going to do it." And it would have been the biggest marketing win that NASCAR has had since Dale retired. Because I mean, it would have been at least Jimmy Johnson and Dale running presumably their final races
Yeah.
together. And I mean, he did quickly come shut it down that he's just never going to run a Cup Series race ever again. But he wanted to make sure that it was not his wife's fault. So I thought that was an interesting thing. I would love to see something where maybe at the All Star race at like wherever we run it, like this year it's Dover, we have a bit of a legends race where each team can field one car for a legend
That
that
would be
used to do
cool.
that, and it's just like our halftime break for the All Star race, like between the LCQ and the All Star race. I think that'd be a fun way to do it, or to like the transition from the stars of yesterday to um, the stars of today. Which there's a whole can of worms if NASCAR relies too heavily on the past, but I don't know. Selfishly, I would love to see it, just like an SRX, except with you know whatever cars NASCAR could throw out there.
I think that would be pretty sweet. That's a great idea. I haven't even thought about that. Like every team gets their own from like a guy that was with their manufacturer or something like that. I like that idea. That's pretty sweet. Yeah, I was listening to the pod and was like, I was just sitting there. I don't remember what I was doing, but I think I was just driving in the truck, and I was like, huh, and then didn't really think anything else of it. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Probably, I guess I just was like, that probably won't happen. And then he came out and was like, yeah, it's not happening. So I was like, oh, okay. But I did think it was interesting where he said he made it very, very clear he would be not racing in Cup, but that was it.
Yeah.
He did not say anything about O'Reilly or trucks or anything like that. So I was like, huh, that door is still wide open for everything else, but not for Cup.
Well, last year was the first time that he has not run
Yeah.
Xfinity or O'Reilly or Bush in years. He's run it pretty much ever since he's retired. He's run 1 to 2 races, typically at a short track because of his concussion issues. And I mean, he almost won Bristol a few years ago and just had bad luck at the end. So I love seeing the 8 or the 88, whatever he's driving at the time on track. I mean, even the 3 when he breaks it out, it's always special. So, and just, if you get to see your childhood heroes, it's like, the old timers games that sometimes some major league teams do, or
Mm-hmm.
legends games. Like, I think it's just fun to watch them race each other again and just like cut up. It allows for some good times.
Yeah, I don't really know what else to say on this one other
Yeah,
than
I
it would
mean,
be
this is a
cool, but
nothing.
he really dismissed that one pretty quick. So
I was gonna say it's really a nothing story,
yeah,
but it was fun to talk about. Something that's going to be way less fun to talk about is the lawsuit that was filed. I don't know when it was filed, but it became public today. Joe Gibbs Racing is
mm-hmm.
suing their former competition director, Chris Gabehart, who we have already talked a lot about this year in our preseason predictions, and even on Monday when we recorded the Daytona 500 review of why we thought Joe Gibbs Racing, or at least I thought Joe Gibbs Racing, would lag behind a little bit this year. And it turns out that Spire, after hiring Gapehart, received quite a bit of extra help. So basically,
Allegedly,
allegedly, thank you. If we get big enough to get
we're
sued,
gonna get a call from legal.
yeah, if we get big enough to get sued by Chris Gapehart, I consider that kind of a win, don't
I
you?
agree. Actually, I want to be in NASCAR.
It would be
Actually,
pretty
I take
fun.
that back. I really don't want to.
Is Michael Jordan going to show up? That's really the question.
If he's
Um,
there, I'll go.
exactly. I think that's a good way to look at it. But according to this, Joe Gibbs Racing is suing Chris Gabehart for upwards of $8 million um, in compensatory and other damages and attorney fees because basically, and we're going to simplify this, not going to go by legal jargon because who cares? I mean, we're not big enough to get sued, so I don't care. That allegedly Chris Gapehart was basically hitting copy and paste from his setups from Joe Gibbs Racing, which was a shared cloud, mind you, from his personal device, which he was not supposed to be using the cloud on. And he dropped the setups into a folder he labeled Spire. And it was all on Joe Gibbs Racing's cloud, like shared network.
He just doesn't even care. That's
If that
fantastic.
actually happened, that is the most boneheaded
That is
thing.
stupid, but it's
There's no way
hilarious.
that actually happened in that exact way, right? Like,
If it did, this is what I would do if I was Chris Gapehart. Hello, Gainbridge. I need to borrow $8 million. Oh, what was that? You made that in 33 seconds yesterday? Perfect. Goodbye. That's what I would do.
I was gonna say, if it's legal, I don't know if NASCAR would suspend him for something like that because everyone is attempting to cheat at
When
all
you move
times.
teams, do you think they're just gonna? Oh, well, we're gonna like just control alt delete their brain? Like they don't forget things.
Well, it's a different thing
That's why
though.
you get
Like,
hired.
exactly, but it's a different thing. I don't know because people have done this all the time, but they would just write it down and keep a second copy and take with them,
Yeah.
or
What's
give it.
there's no difference other than it was just way stupider.
Well, the difference in this is he apparently gave it to them starting last year. This is
Uh,
what helped him earn the job. So, if that's what's being alleged.
he must have gotten a pay bump from Spire like big time if he was doing this.
Well, there was a disagreement. I'm reading what Pockrass had to say about this. Chris Gabehart asked for authority over all racing decisions, aka Ty Gibbs. I don't want Ty Gibbs driving for me. Joe Gibbs said no, and then Gabehart asked to leave. JGR afterwards did forensic analysis of Gabehart's devices and alleges he synced personal Google Drive with his Joe Gibbs Racing laptop and had photos of the Joe Gibbs Racing setup information in a folder called Spire.
Uh,
So, either this is the dumbest, like, how old is Chris Gabehart? Because there's a certain line where I will forgive tech illiteracy.
if
Oh
he's
my goodness, he's only 44.
nope,
No, no,
unforgivable.
no. I was gonna say I if he was like mid 50s, I would be like, oh, okay. I guess he didn't
Oh,
understand the cloud maybe a little bit. No,
my dad's like he's like my dad's 56 or something like that. I don't I'm not trying to dox
44 is
dox my dad's
outrageous.
age, but even he knows how to. I mean, he wouldn't even like he knows that that's a thing. Like what?
Well, I did have a thing today where I talked 15 minutes trying to get my grandma to send me a screenshot of something, and I never was able to pull it off. So I do sympathize, but at the same time, I don't know if there's anything like egregious. It's going to come down to timing because if it really does depend on when all of that was added to that account. Because if he's still for some reason because it was synced, he was putting that information into his old account, not really realizing or not putting two and two together that Joe Gibbs Racing still had access to that folder that he made for Spire, or if he meant to take that with him. So, but if he was giving that information to Spire while he was still employed by JGR, that's when we're going to get some issues. Um, there's not a lot known about this right now, besides, I mean, just the filing. So I assume they're going to settle out of court, and you'll see some monetary go back, and Spire will be happy to pay for it because, like you mentioned, Gamebridge has the deepest pockets in the garage. Something I do want to ask you though: how much of Spire's early speed this season is because of Chris Gaypart directly stealing information from Joe Gibbs?
Uh, I guess it depends on the date because I mean we've only had one. I guess you could say quote unquote real race where the setup's really going to matter a lot. Um, and even then, I mean, I wasn't even. It wasn't necessarily their setup. Like they weren't they weren't crazy fast in qualifying or anything like that. They just had really good race management and were there at the end rather than having a really good setup. So I don't know if that's really contributed yet. I don't know if we've really seen the the fruit of that if it was something that started this year. We just haven't gotten to the tracks to see that yet. I think we may have learned a lot more about that this weekend, but I don't know how much that's affected their overall speed yet in general, just because we're one race in and it's the
That's fair.
500.
I mean, I think too, it's easy enough to write it off of, well, Chris Gaypart's just really smart, except for apparently when trying to cheat. Um, and two, Carson Hocevar is really good. So I mean,
Yeah, and I mean
I mean,
McDowell was there, and I just yeah,
Suarez
I don't
finished fourth at Bowman Gray. I mean, Hocevar was contending for the win in the second half there. So I think that's interesting. I think it's a story to keep an eye on as the season goes on. And I mean,
yeah
it's very rare that we actually have two teams suing each other, though it's the second time it's happened this season. But I think that this is the first time, at least that I can remember. Someone down in the comments below, let me know if there's a time in recent NASCAR history where two relevant teams are suing each other. Because I remember last year, Rick Ware Racing and Legacy Motor Club had their suit both against each other, but it was over charters. It
yeah, I
wasn't
was about to
really
say that was
over
charter related.
anything on track. This is on track, and we're already week 2, and we have it going on. So I doubt you see anything happen on track, but it would be kind of interesting if Hocevar gets into a Ty Gibbs or a Denny Hamlin this week, and it just adds one more layer onto the normal. Oh, Hocevar's a wrecking ball. Oh, well, what did he do it on purpose because they're getting sued? I don't know. It's stupid, but I love it.
Yeah, I don't think we'll hear anything. Like you said, I agree. I think they'll settle outside of court. I think Cambridge will shell out some money. Joe Gibbs will be satisfied, and all will move on because when people get hired to other competitive companies that do the same thing, they are hired because of their knowledge and to bring an advantage to the other team. That's the whole
Exactly.
point.
Joe Gibbs, obviously, something that brought up. They did apparently, allegedly, catch someone else leaking confidential setup information back in 2024, and that came out after Richmond that year. So it was alleged because it was a Chevy team that the information got leaked to. that it was RCR and that Richmond setup that Austin Dillon dominated in actually came out of the Joe Gibbs Racing Shop. Nothing came out of that, really. Like, I have not heard anything else about it in the 2 years since it's happened. But just something to keep an eye on. If it's actually serious enough that they filed real charges and didn't just go to NASCAR complaining, I don't think it's going to go away without, a little bit of back and forth.
Yeah.
But let's move on to the actual on track product. Echo Park Speedway. No
Oh,
one calls it that. Atlanta Motor
that's right.
Speedway this weekend for all three national series. We'll see if the Xfinity, the O'Reilly, and the Chrysler Truck Series get in this weekend. It's a little bit rainy on Saturday. Yeah, drop it in the pile. But the Cup Series heads in to Hampton, Georgia. Both of us will be there. And I don't know about you, but it's going to be 51 degrees at Green Flag. But once that sun goes down, it will get cold. And the wind will be an issue. 15-mile-per-hour winds with gusts up to 25 miles an hour at Atlanta Motor Speedway Sunday afternoon. I'm so excited for this race, man.
I'm I've been counting down the hours. I don't hate the weather. I think, like you said, it'll add some. We were talking about it before. The cool weather will add some grip. Well, I'm sure we'll get into the new tire compound that they came out with here in a bit, so that'll be interesting. I'll be sure to. I'll have my T-shirt on and I'll have a jacket on over that because this is layering weather. You know, when that sun's out, if the sun is out, I mean, it will be in the sun no matter where you are until it goes down because just the way the track's oriented. So we'll have some good sun if it's out. The winds will probably be a factor. I'll be interested to see how that plays into the racing, but probably similar to Daytona if it's gusting about the same.
Yeah, so, and we saw that at Daytona. It was very, very loose in
Mm-hmm.
the pack, and it's already hard to keep your car stable at Atlanta compared to Daytona. So, I mean, if the cars are swirly all day, these are the best drivers, stock car drivers in the world. I want to see them perform in the hardest conditions, and they may get that at Atlanta Motor Speedway this weekend. You mentioned the tire compound, and I actually am going to ask you a favor for myself here. I whenever, just no pressure tonight. Could you send me that video you got of the tires from last year while we were down on pit road?
Of them,
You don't
the guy that when they were taking the blowtorch to the tire, or just the picture of
have
all the tires.
just the blowtorch to the tire because I want
Let me
to
see if I can
show
find it real
everybody
quick.
back at home. You don't have to send it right now if you don't want to, but something that these tires are going to be softer. And last year, I mean, Atlanta already shreds tires, not nearly
Oh
as bad
yeah.
as it used to. But I mean, you can go and practice. Last year, they went 30 laps on a set of tires. They went a little bit more in the race, but I always love tire management races. And I mean, I think it really negates a lot of the fuel saving that you see at
Mm-hmm.
Daytona and Talladega. Not to mention, you can't really clog Atlanta because the cars can't exist that close together for very long because people are constantly getting runs.
Yeah.
So it is the by far the most superior plate track we have at the moment. And I mean, I'd argue it's the best on the entire schedule, the best track in general.
Yeah. I just sent that to you. It's actually an O'Reilly series tire, but
Still, it's a cool
you
visual.
still have it.
So
No, that this I don't know. Did you catch Bubba Wallace's little blurb that he said about Atlanta about last year? About how it's mentally the most draining race on the schedule. He said he got out of the car and he just was like completely disoriented because he was so mentally exhausted from
no, but
Atlanta.
thinking back to that race, which one, spring
I
or
don't remember which one he was talking about, but I frankly it doesn't matter either. Take your
yeah?
pick.
I mean, I can definitely see that. It's because it's the danger of plate racing with the constant having to be on defense of every other track and manage your tires, manage your fuel. So much goes into this race. It's 400 miles of the most stress-inducing watch experience. I couldn't imagine driving it. I
Oh yeah.
totally get that. And I remember, I mean, Reddick and Bubba were both really fast last year, but they went from the front to the back to the back to the front several times in this race in February last year. So I could absolutely see why that would be very stress inducing. Something I want to talk about. So, whenever there's new tires in play, you always look towards like the veteran drivers who are good at managing their equipment. So, Denny Hamlin is going to be the first name that comes to mind. I'm looking right now because we have a little bit of a cheat sheet of driver average finish and all that. You have to go pretty down the list. 18th, so 16th of full time active drivers. Um, Denny Hamlin has the 16th best average finish of 17.3, and he does not have a win at New Atlanta. But I am very interested with how much this tire is going to fall off. If that creates an advantage for a very good plate racer for Denny Hamlin in this like kind of hybrid intermediate um, restrictor plate challenge, because Atlanta, every time we go to it, the surface ages a little bit more. The cars are a little bit more spread out. And so you still have that everyone is drafting and can make runs really quickly, but it's going to develop more and more into an intermediate as we go along. So I'm wondering how big of a tire fall off there will even be, for one. And then two, how much of an advantage is that for a Denny Hamlin, a Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch? And Kyle Busch and Brad K are both really good at this track. Brad being, of course, if I can pull up the sheet here.
I've
Yeah,
shown him
Brad,
as 14th
he's 12th.
or 12th.
After
Sorry,
you take out all of the non-active drivers on the list. The cheat sheet I made is not well made, but I saw it.
it is
I
what
know
it
what it
is.
means.
Um,
And then Kyle Busch is the best um, active driver at New Atlanta. He has not won. He came a nose, maybe less than an inch away from winning this race 2 years ago.
he won the
So
truck race. Well, he did win that for
he's
whatever
won two
that's worth.
truck races in a row, and he'll be back
Yeah,
again for more this weekend. So it'll be Hocevar and Kyle Busch
I'm sure that'll
going
go
at
over
it.
swimmingly.
So,
But I'll
but
pose you this question: is there a chance that we get all this news about this tire fall off and there's no difference?
I think there's a pretty 50-50 shot about that. I mean, Goodyear is always playing with the tires, for better or for worse. I'll bring you that. I don't see them changing it a ton. The racing is too good.
I was about to
Like,
say, and that's what we said. I know when we were texting in the group about it, we were like, why mess with why fix something with no problem? Like, why mess with such a good thing? Everybody loves it. So
I'm always down for more fall off. If that means that we're,
that's exactly what I said to that too. I'm always pro fall
but
off.
I don't know necessarily how big of a difference it's going to make unless we start just exploding um, right fronts, like what happened in the O'Reilly race or the truck race, where no one could keep a tire underneath them for more than like 10 laps, it seemed. Or we do a repeat of Indianapolis in like 2007, where everyone is going 5-10 laps and then just
Everyone just
stop.
quits.
Um,
Ugh.
which I think that would be a pretty good way to not come back to Atlanta, and I don't want that because Atlanta's really good. So
Yeah, don't put that in the
I
air.
I think we're gonna get the Atlanta racing we're used to. I don't think it's gonna be a huge deal. The problem is there's no practice to figure that out. So we will know when everyone goes into turn one together on Sunday at 3 o'clock Eastern time, and maybe a little bit in qualifying. I think qualifying will be interesting, but it's not going to show us how much actual fall off there's going to be because you're making what, one lap, two,
Yeah,
with a
two
warm up.
basically.
So I mean, it's not going to show you anything. So we're not going to find out until like probably 20 laps into a run, and everyone's like, "Oh no, I have no grip, even though it's 20 degrees outside." So it's not going to be that cold. It's not Bowman Gray, but still, I am. I think it throws a wrench into the strategy but I don't think it's going to be a huge deal. And I hope I'm right about that just because of how good the racing has been. I don't want to, like, there's a chance that it makes it even better, but I don't want to take that chance necessarily if
That's
it
a
comes with the option of making it a lot worse.
that's a pretty yeah. Your risk reward there is you marginally to gain versus to lose. Like you can gain a little bit for sure, but man, it could go the other way drastically, a lot easier than you could go forward a little bit. So I hope you're right. I think you're right. So
All right. Well, let's talk about a few drivers. I mean, I'm looking at the list of average finishers. As we mentioned before, Kyle Busch is the best driver who is running this race this weekend. And right behind him, could you guess who's number two in average finish? Obviously,
yes,
you
I
can
could
see the
because I'm
sheet
looking at
too, but
yes, I can because I'm
but
looking at the cheat sheet. Dang
I
it, sorry.
forgot that we shared it this time. But yeah,
Let me speculate here. Could it be Ricky Stenhouse Jr.?
yes, it actually could be. So, I mean,
What
Ricky,
a
great
guess.
plate racer. Chef Board, I mean, he's got the ravioli car. I don't know if he's bringing it this weekend, but he brought it to Daytona, and that sucker was fast at the end of this race.
The Tortellini
So,
mobile.
oh yeah, the turbo tortellini.
You better trademark that. Get that on a shirt.
Um, I don't know. I think interesting. Like Ryan Blaney's third. He's in the same boat as Kyle Busch, where he came less than an inch away from winning this race 2 years ago. I'm not surprised by that at all. And if we really think about it, Ricky Stenhouse, I'm not all that surprised by. He's really good at keeping his nose clean in these races. Other races, not really. I mean, he does have the nickname for a reason. But at the drafting tracks, he's really good at keeping his equipment thing. He's fast, and he has a lot of Chevy teammates to work with. Cool. I mean, I get Ricky there. Going down
Yeah.
the list a little bit more, Connor Zilic finished here 11th in the spring, or not the spring, the summer last year. I don't care because half the field wrecked out of that race in stage
Yeah,
one,
that's
stage
whatever.
two. So, I mean, 11th, impressive. I don't care. AJ Allmendinger with the fifth best average finish of any driver, and that's with Ford starts here. He has an 11.3 average finish with all four in the top 20. He's led 6 laps here, and I mean, only one of those is a top 5 finish. So I don't know necessarily if AJ is going to have winning speed. I just thought that really stood out to me when I was compiling data. Of we don't talk about him at anywhere except for Homestead, Miami, and then the road courses. And
Hmm.
AJ is quietly just really, really good here.
He's the only one, excluding Zilich because of the sample size. He's the only one in like the top 30 that I was like, I kind of raised an eyebrow at. I was like, oh, really? If there's a bet, I wonder what the betting market is for an AJ Allmendinger 10th through 6th finish. Not a top 5, but 6th through 10th. Because whatever those odds are, they're not low enough. Because it just seems like that's kind of where he slots in every time. But I mean, Blaney's no surprise. Just going down the list. I mean, Elliott, he obviously is a winner here. Um, Logano, no surprise there. Cindric being all the way down at 17, little bit of a surprise, but I guess it kind of tracks with the way they kind of just tend to wreck out from the front here. Because the way they qualify, you'd think he'd be in the top 10.
AJ Allmendinger just for winning odds. So I mean, not the odds you want, but
I don't even think there's a market for what I just said.
he has the seventh worst odds to win.
Really?
I do not bet American currency, but that feels like an oversight of just
Yeah, I just cannot. I don't think I could
I
actually.
can never
I couldn't
get the
stomach putting U.S. tender on an AJ Allmendinger outright at Atlanta. Like that just wouldn't sit right with my entire being. Not that I bet any money ever, um, but if I did, this would be pretty low on the list. But if you're a sicko and want a line, this is not We're
a
not going to
bad one.
condone. We're not going to condone,
No,
but we'll say just maybe sprinkle half unit, quarter unit.
if you want to use a 36 for 36 when you don't want to use Almendinger on a road course because you're an absolute sicko, not a bad option. But I mean, that's the one that stood out to me. I just
Yeah.
was absolutely shocked. How
Everything
many?
else kind of tracks here. Um, the Fords are not as high up here at all
Well,
as
you
you would
have to
think.
remember
They
that
always just wreck from the front.
they all wreck each other.
Always, every time.
So
I almost wonder, and I wonder if that was a strategy. I think they just ended up not getting together at Daytona. I don't know if we talked about this. I wonder if that's a strategy that they tried at Daytona of we get up front on these every time and we wreck from the front every time. Let's not do that this time. Everyone's saying, oh, maybe Ford fell off. Ford didn't have the speed. I don't know if you watched the beginning of Duel 1. I don't think the Ford speed went anywhere. But
I don't know if it's the
I've
Fords as much as it is just I think people are questioning Penske.
Yeah, that too. I almost chalk it up to I kind of thought in my head, I don't know if we even talked about this. I thought it was more of maybe a strategy decision of, hey, we wreck from the front every time. Let's try and sit in, you know, a few spots back and see if we can win it from there. I wouldn't be shocked if they tried that again because they were 1, 2, 3, 4 Penske blockade with Barry, and then just they hit a like a just a landmine and they all wrecked out.
What was that landmine? Was that landmine wearing a 77 perchance last year? I can't remember because this was the
I don't
race
think
where
that was
Christopher.
him.
It was not him. I think it was Larson actually that took out like half of the Penske cars. Because Blaney got Hocevar, and then he still finished fifth
Yeah.
because Blaney was a superhero at this race last year. But I don't know. It's going to be really hard for me to bet against. Well, not bet, but metaphorically to bet against Team Penske at Atlanta because they are just so darn fast. Like you mentioned, 1, 2, 3, 4 um, qualifying last year, if you count Wood Brothers and Josh Berry. They dominated this race. I mean, Austin Cindric, I felt like I was watching Austin Hill highlights. Just absolute domination of the field. And Ryan Blaney right there. Joey Logano's won this thing twice in the next gen era. I believe he's the only one who has. No, sorry, Chase Elliott has 2 wins as well. So, and then you look at Hendrick because we've run 8 races here at New Atlanta, and Hendrick has won.
I believe.
Okay, they're Am I
Is it
misremembering? I thought
is it
Chase
just the two?
Elliott.
Chase Elliott has 2. No one else has won here. I don't think.
Oh, 2022. Where I'm getting the stats are messed up because it only goes back to 2023. Chase Elliott won the summer race here in 2022. Don't ask me how I remember that one, but yeah.
I'm not
And
good.
Byron won the spring race. I remember that because
Okay.
Byron's other win comes in the rain shortened Atlanta summer race, and then Elliott won obviously last year.
Okay.
Logano's won 2 here, and then the other 2 wins in that time period, Bell, because the caution came out last year, and Daniel Suarez because of a green-white checkered that had the best finish of all time, maybe, possibly, the closest 3-wide finish ever, like cars.
Yeah.
It's very late at night when we're filming this, by the way. Grant's been on the road. I have been waiting on him to get off the road so we could film. It's a mess.
This is what
But
we sacrifice, I guess. But we
this is
had to
what
do
we
this, especially for a race we're going to be at in person. But
absolutely.
what are your initial leans for this race in terms of picks? Do you have any driver outrights that you're thinking they're going to win? Do you have any weird top 10 predictions, or what's
I
the
have
what
a
do you
I
what are
have a
you
hunch
feeling?
that JGR is not going to be good. I don't think Joe Gibbs is going to be good here again, and I think it's going to put all of them in a weird spot because they're all down in points right now. Briscoe is low, Hamlin's low, Ty Gibbs is pretty low, Bell is down there, so all four of them really. I
Yeah, they all
do think
four are
the
pretty much wrecked out.
so I think 2311 is going to be really good, just based off of what I saw last year. Whenever Reddick and Bubba got nose to tail, they were able to pass the entire field, even the Penske cars, which was very difficult to do. I think Penske and RFK are both going to be pretty good because I like pretty much all the Fords. I think that this is a good weekend for like a front row, possibly. I mean, they were really good last year. At least Zane Smith in the summer race. So, and I mean, Zane Smith was really good last week. He
Hmm.
finished with the top five. So, and won a stage. So, I don't think like I'm not going to pick Zane Smith to win. Would it shock me all that much? No. Actually, I think I picked him last year as part of my fantasy lineup. So, in this race, and then I think he got caught up in a wreck. But still, I lean really heavily towards Penske, Spire, in 2311 to come out and kind of be really fast. Because, I mean, just let's talk about Spire real quick. So, disregard Michael McDowell a little bit. I mean, he's a good plate racer, he's good at keeping out of trouble. And, I mean, he was leading the Daytona 500 with a few to go. He was in position at the white flag, gets taken out because of something that was not his fault. Hocevar in this race last year was probably going to win it if not for inconsistent officiating. And I mean, last week he was leading the pack to the white flag and got wrecked out. Not his fault. So I mean, the win's coming for Hocevar, and then you look at Suarez. This is statistically Daniel Suarez's best track. Obviously, he's never ran it for the number 7 in Spire Motorsports. It's all been with Team Trackhouse. But I mean, Daniel's good here. So I mean, if you can get all of them working together, and this is a racetrack where I mean, having like one teammate matters substantially more than just having another Chevy behind you, another Ford behind you, because of how much like freedom of movement there is in the amount of runs you get. I mean, I could see any of those three winning. And then obviously Penske, Cindric, Logano, Blaney. Blaney is probably going to be the most popular pick to win this, I would assume. And
Probably.
yeah,
Is he the
um,
betting favorite?
co-favorites are Blaney, Logano, and Elliott to win this race.
Yeah, that tracks.
Um, so I feel like I've talked a lot about that, but um, I I'm going to say I don't want to pick the favorite though. I'm going to pick a favorite and then a dark horse, but I'll give you your I'll let you speak on who you think is going to be good, who's not going to be good, and then we can kind of get into predictions.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit all the right points there. I don't know if I necessarily disagree. I think Hendrick's going to be strong again, which should come as no surprise. I think um, at least the I have high expectations for the 9 and the 24 here. I don't know. We'll see with Larson. Just kind of is what it is. In the 48, who knows? But I have high expectations for those guys. Obviously, Penske's expectations are through the roof. As long as they don't wreck from the front, I would say keep an eye on them. See if they try to and mix it up. Maybe run a little bit in the mid pack. Try and run there and just see. Maybe people say they're kind of falling off, but keep an eye on it. It may just be a strategy thing. I'm no expert. I don't know anyone over there, but that's just a weird little hunch. But for some reason, I'm getting a gut feeling that Brad K, this might be his time to shine. He looks
I
he looked healthy, and he looked a little bit angry. I
Does that just
mean,
mean? Well, he has a history of beef at this racetrack. Fortunately, Carl Edwards is not racing,
to our
so
knowledge, for sure.
I mean,
um, but even last year, the summer race. I mean, if it wasn't for if pretty much any other car was in second place or third place, he probably wins. Because I don't know if the 48's not gonna get a run and push Elliott to the win instead of Brad's got to
well, he
run
just
and
was,
he's just
never going to push the 6 over the
yeah, obviously if it's
9.
pretty
So
much anybody else, like he's got a shot there and he probably does win it. So I get a gut feeling about Brad. I think he's got a decent shot to win it. I don't know where he stands on the favorite thing. I know I talked about earlier. I was like, I kind of like Logano, but he's the betting favorite, so I really don't want to say that. So I'll go with Brad. How far down is he?
Keselowski is like 10th or
Okay,
so.
so
It's
he's not
Bush
a
and
front runner.
Keselowski at plus 2,000. I'm gonna do, man. I'm looking at these odds and I'm just like, there's some good odds on this. I feel like,
What's the
um,
odds on like an Eric Jones?
Eric Jones was pretty far down. Yeah, he's plus 5,500. He's right ahead of Todd Gilliland and behind Ty Gibbs. So, I could
That's
see
good
that.
value.
If you were going to go down that route, I would take his teammate of John Hunter Nemechek because you get substantially better odds
Mm-hmm.
of plus 8,000, which is right there with AJ Allmendinger. But I keep thinking back of like the 2311. I could see like a 2311 driver. If it would be, I think Bubba has a
I
better shot
agree.
of winning this race than Tyler does. Just because, I mean, Matt Kenseth, and I think in '09 or '07, I think it was '09, was the last driver to win back to back races to start the season. I don't think Reddit's going to do it. He has speed here, but I do think Bubba is the better plate driver, and he's done well at Atlanta. But that's not my pick. And then I also want to say like Ryan Blaney, but he's the favorite, and I don't want to pick the favorite. Um, as much as I do think that there's a pretty good possibility of seeing either the 12 or the 22 in victory lane. I'm, maybe it's a homer pick. Maybe it's because it's going to be the hat I'm wearing at this race, but I'm going to take Ross Chastain. There is only one reason for that, and that's because sitting at the exit of turn 4 last year and watching before the final caution came out, Ross Chastain slicing and dicing through the Penske cars and just holding everybody at bay. If someone gets in front of him, passing them in the next corner. As the sun went down and we were getting to crunch time, and I have that image stuck in my head that this time Ross is going to finish the job and he's going to smash a watermelon at the start finish line. And I have no other reason to think that way. But just I like my dude and I think he's going to do well. He has done like he's historically always been in the picture right at the finish line. So if we're looking at best odds, or not best odds, but if we're looking at that, he has the 18th best finishing order here, but he does have two top 10s out of 6 starts. So I don't know. I think there's a good shot of him doing it, and he's been wrecked out at this race a few times. So
Yeah.
I'm not overly concerned about average finish because, like I said, like summer last year, half the field was taken out, and it was a wreck that started up front, so it kind of allowed for a lot of new faces to be competing at the end. I like Chastain. I'm gonna lock it in. So I'll take
I
Chastain.
like
You'll
it.
take Brad K. I would not be shocked to see either of those guys in victory lane. But at the end of the day, I kind of expect it to be Logano or Blaney.
Have you seen their starting average position?
I didn't
Logano
really.
and Blaney.
No.
Oh my! Sorry. When you were talking a little bit about there, I literally had to like double. I was doing a double take Kyle Busch averages starting 15.3. Uh, Chase Elliott starts 20.2.
Oh,
Mc, yeah. Reddick is 18.5. Logano is 3.2. And Blaney is 2.8.
good
That is
lord.
unbelievable. I could
Well,
not believe what I was looking at. I was like, that cannot be right. Oh, it's
well,
right.
just to do it, their teammate Cindric, lagging behind as usual, only has an average starting position of 5.2.
Here's an outlier for you. Chris Buescher's 30th, and his average starting position is 11.2. Finish the race, man. What are we doing?
Just, I'm trying to get down here to Josh Berry, who has an average starting position of 8.8. So,
And his average
something I,
finish position of 26.4.
part of that Stuart Haas,
Woof.
and he did get wrecked out of this race last year.
Yeah.
So, I I did notice all of the Stuart Haas guys who are now racing somewhere else have terrible average finishes.
Yeah.
The Stuart Haas sucked at New Atlanta. They kind of sucked everywhere, but they
I
really
was about
sucked
to
at
say,
New Atlanta.
well,
So, all right, I think that just about does it. Anything you're looking forward to this weekend that we haven't mentioned, Grant?
mm, nothing that we haven't mentioned. Just excited to be at the racetrack in person. Excited to let my wife experience racing for the first time in person. No, no, there's no telling how many races she's had to put up with on TV or falling asleep to on the couch on a Sunday afternoon after getting back from church or something like that. So to be there in person, that'll be fun. I'm excited. I'm excited to watch the racing. I'm excited to watch her watch the racing. So should be good.
Is she gonna stick with her Todd Gilliland fandom,
I
or
don't know. He just was so nice in that one NASCAR video. He seemed very sweet, is what she said. So I don't know. We'll see. She said she wants to look at the paint schemes on down on pit road, under the sun,
okay?
see him in person, and judge
Well,
it off
after
of that. So she will
after
be
she
picking
sees
the
Wendy's
Cole
Ross
Custer.
Chastain,
She will be picking the Cole Custer, the car is what she will be picking. So either
I
that or
was
the Tootsie's Panama City Beach Connor Zilic light pink car or lavender.
I don't know. I think Ross Chastain's Wendy's
It's
car this
pretty.
weekend. That's a beautiful paint scheme, and I'm really hoping they already have Birch of it.
She's gonna see that orange and black bodyguard 17 and be like, "Yeah, I see all what all the hype's about."
We all talk about this, and she's gonna look one time at the Red Baron and just
She's gonna say HendrickCars.com. I think I like that one. No, he's running
well,
that sick Valvoline one
yeah,
actually.
Valvoline.
That thing is.
So the one time
I'm not a Larson guy, but that scheme is.
there's some good schemes for her to choose from this
Oh
weekend,
yeah,
and maybe she decides to build a submarine. Who knows?
we can only not with the new one, maybe with the old scheme, but
Yeah, I'm
we'll
not a
see.
gigantic fan of
I'll
the new
keep you
one, but
posted. I'm sure. I'm sure we'll be interacting at the race. I know we're sitting close, but not together. So I'm
yes,
sure we'll see each other a few times in the track.
yeah, it should be a good time. Okay, to everyone at home, let us know what you think about the Chris Gabehart situation, and if you were going to steal a setup from a Big Three organization, allegedly, how would you go about it? That's what I want to hear down in the comments below, and as well as who do you think's going to win, who do you think's not going to do well at Atlanta? Let us know. And for Grant, I'm Cayden, and I'm saying good night from the Tri Oval office.